The abandoned fleet commander Maya Chen stood at the viewing port of the Earth exploration vessel Pathfinder, watching the stars streak by as they navigated through uncharted space. After 15 years in Earth's Space Exploration Corps, she still found herself captivated by the vast unknown. Her dark eyes reflected the passing starlight, her features composed in the practiced calm of a veteran commander. "Commander, we're detecting unusual energy signatures ahead," reported Lieutenant Raj Patel from his station. His fingers danced across the holographic interface, bringing up detailed scans. "Configuration unknown, not matching any signals in our database." Maya turned from the viewport. "Show me." The main display lit up with a visual of distant objects, dozens of them, drifting in a loose formation. They were massive vessels with elegant curved hulls that reminded Maya of ancient sailing ships, their surfaces adorned with intricate crystalline structures that caught the light of a nearby star. "Life signs?" Maya asked, stepping closer to the display. Science Officer Elena Volkov checked her readings. "Yes, Commander. Thousands of them, but they're muted somehow. Most appear to be in some form of stasis. The ship's power systems are operating at minimal capacity." A refugee fleet? Maya wondered aloud. It wouldn't be the first they'd encountered. As humanity expanded its exploration efforts, they occasionally found remnants of civilizations that had fled war, natural disasters, or dying worlds. "Commander," Communications Officer Dax Kim interrupted, "I'm detecting a repeating signal from the lead vessel. It appears to be a distress beacon. Can you translate it?" Dax adjusted settings on his console. "Working on it. The language structure is unlike anything we've encountered, but there are patterns. The universal translation matrix is adapting." Maya made her decision quickly. "Approach cautiously. Yellow alert status. I want full shields, but weapons remain dormant. Let's not appear threatening." The Pathfinder glided forward, its ion engines humming softly as it closed the distance to the mysterious fleet. As they drew nearer, the true scale of the vessels became apparent. Some were kilometers long, dwarfing the human exploration ship. "Translation complete," Dax announced, putting it on speakers. A haunting voice filled the bridge, the translation overlay giving it an artificial cadence. "This is the Exodus fleet of the Neverend people. Our homeworld is lost. Our sun has begun its death cycle. We seek sanctuary among the stars. We travel in preservation sleep. Our children wait to awaken in a new home." The message continued, growing more disturbing with each word. "We have approached the Galactic Concordat. They denied us entry. We have approached the Tellurian hegemony. They denied us entry. We have approached the Exoni Republic. They denied us entry. We have approached the Mibari Commonwealth. They denied us entry. We have approached the Voss Collective. They denied us entry. We have approached the Iridian Hierarchy. They denied us entry. Our power reserves diminish. Preservation, chambers failing. We estimate complete system failure within 1 solar cycle. This will be our end, this message will repeat." Silence fell over the bridge as the message began again. Maya felt a chill run through her. 6 civilizations, all more advanced than humanity, had turned these people away. "Status of their ships?" Maya asked quietly. Chief Engineer Marcus Webb consulted his readings. "Critical, Commander. Their power cores are nearly depleted. Life support systems are failing in several vessels. I'm detecting evidence that hundreds of stasis pods have already failed. There are children on those ships," Elena added, her voice tight. Security Chief Viktor Kovalev spoke up. "Commander, we should proceed with caution. Earth protocols are clear about interfering with other civilizations' affairs. These Neverends were rejected by 6 advanced species. There might be reasons we don't understand." Maya turned to face her security chief. "And there might not be, Victor. There might just be fear, or political expediency, or simple indifference." She walked to the center of the bridge, feeling the weight of responsibility. The Pathfinder wasn't a colony ship or a rescue vessel. They were explorers mapping uncharted regions of space for future human expansion. They weren't equipped to save an entire civilization, but they were human. and humanity had learned its own harsh lessons about turning away those in need. "Prepare a boarding party," Maya ordered. "Engineering, medical, and science personnel. I want to know if we can help stabilize their ships." "Commander," Victor objected. "Earth Command needs to be consulted before—" "I'm not asking permission to assist dying people, Chief Kovalev." Maya cut him off. "I'm informing Earth that we've found refugees who need our help. Dax, send a full report to Command. Tell them we're providing emergency assistance while awaiting further instructions." 3 hours later, Maya floated through the cavernous interior of the lead Neveran vessel alongside Elena and Marcus. Their environmental suits allowed them to navigate the near-zero gravity and thin atmosphere of the ship, their lights illuminating rows upon rows of translucent pods stretching far into the distance. Inside each pod was a Neveran, a being with iridescent copper-colored skin, 4 limbs, and a slender body. Their faces were delicate, with large almond-shaped eyes and no visible nose, just small breathing slits. Most appeared to be in a deep sleep, their chests barely moving. "These preservation chambers are remarkable," Elena said, examining one, pod containing a smaller Neveran, clearly a child. "The technology is elegant, but they're failing." Marcus scanned the ship's systems with his equipment. Main power cores are operating at less than 8% capacity. They've been drifting for decades, possibly centuries. Without intervention, total system failure will occur within 3 months. Maya drifted closer to a pod containing a Neveran who appeared different from the others. Their sleeping garments bore intricate symbols, and the pod itself had additional monitoring systems. "Can we wake one of them? Perhaps a leader who can tell us more?" Elena considered this. "It should be possible. This one appears to be in a less deep stasis than the others. Possibly a caretaker or commander programmed to awaken periodically to check on their journey." "Do it," Maya decided. Carefully. They brought the pod back to the Pathfinder, setting it up in the medical bay with Dr. Yuki Tanaka overseeing the revival process. The entire senior staff gathered as the stasis field slowly dissipated. The Neveran's eyes opened, startlingly bright. With pupils that expanded and contracted like a camera lens, they sat up cautiously, movements fluid despite what must have been years in stasis. When they spoke, Dax's translation matrix worked quickly to convert their melodic language. "I am Krell, Navigator Prime of the Neveran Exodus. Why have you awakened? Me? Have we found sanctuary at last?" Maya stepped forward. "I am Commander Maya Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Pathfinder. We found your fleet drifting in space. Your power systems are failing." Krell's large eyes blinked rapidly, taking in the humans surrounding them. "You are not of any species we have encountered before. We're humans from Earth, a world many light years from here. And you have come to turn us away as all the others did." It wasn't a question but a resigned statement. Maya shook her head. "No. We've come to help you." Krell stared at her, then at each human in turn as if searching for deception. "Why would you help when the great civilizations would not? The Iridians who have traveled between galaxies, the Mabari with their 1,000-year empire. They all said we were too many, too different, too costly to save." "That's not our way," Maya said simply. "We're still finding our place among the stars, but we know what it means to face extinction, to be desperate. Throughout our history, we've learned, sometimes at terrible cost, that turning away those in need only leads to greater suffering." Krell's 4-fingered hand trembled slightly as they touched Maya's arm, as if confirming she was real. "You would help us? All of us? We've already begun emergency power transfer to your main vessels," Marcus explained. "It should buy us time, while we contact Earth." Over the next days, Maya and her crew worked tirelessly alongside Krell and 5 other awakened Neverans. The refugees' story became clearer. Their home system's star had begun an unexpected premature collapse. With limited time, they had placed their population of nearly 30,000 into stasis aboard the Exodus fleet, hoping to find sanctuary among the stars. But every advanced civilization they encountered saw only the burden, Refugees with different biology, different needs, different ways. None saw the potential, the knowledge, the unique perspective the Neverans could bring. None were willing to share their worlds, even temporarily. On the fifth day, Maya received Earth's response. She gathered her senior staff and the awakened Neverans in the conference room as the transmission from Admiral Juarez of Earth High Command appeared on screen. Commander Chen, we've reviewed your reports on the Neveran refugee situation. The Admiral began, her expression serious. The Security Council is divided. Some members express concern about the resources required to assist 30,000 refugees, and about potentially antagonizing the 6 advanced civilizations that rejected them. Maya felt her heart sink, but kept her expression neutral. However, Admiral Juarez continued, her face softening slightly. Others reminded us of Earth's own history, of times when we were the ones turning away those in need, and the shame that followed. The Admiral straightened in her chair. You are authorized to render full assistance to the Neveran people. The colony vessel New Horizon is being diverted to your coordinates with supplies and additional personnel. The Gamma Centauri outpost has begun preparations to receive the refugees temporarily while we establish a permanent settlement for them on Proxima B. Relief washed over Maya. She glanced at Krell, whose large eyes had widened in disbelief. This won't be easy, Commander, Admiral Juarez cautioned. You're making a decision that will have consequences throughout this sector of space. The Iridians, in particular, have already registered their disapproval. With respect, Admiral, Maya replied firmly, it's the right decision. We can't call ourselves explorers if we abandon the very principles that define us. After the transmission ended, Maya turned to Krell, who stood trembling with what she now recognized as their people's expression of overwhelming emotion. 30,000 lives, Krell whispered. You're saving 30,000 lives when the greatest powers in this region of space deemed us unworthy. Maya smiled. That's what makes us human, Krell. We're still learning how to be better, but we know this. Much everyone deserves a chance to survive, to thrive. As they prepared for the arrival of the New Horizon, Dax approached Maya on the observation deck, where she stood watching the massive Neveran vessels now glowing with renewed power. Commander, he said hesitantly, long-range sensors are detecting vessels approaching from the direction of Iridian space. They're moving fast. Maya nodded, unsurprised. She had known this wouldn't be simple. Send a message to Earth Command, she ordered. Tell them we may need diplomatic support sooner than expected, and prepare the ship for possible confrontation. She turned back to the viewport, watching the refugee fleet that now depended on humanity's promise of protection. The real test was just beginning. Humanity's stand. The void of space erupted with light as 3 vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel. They were unlike anything the crew of the Pathfinder had ever seen. Massive constructs of what appeared to be living crystal and light, pulsing with energy that defied human understanding of physics. Iridian vessels, Krell said, their voice barely above a whisper as they stood beside Commander Maya Chen on the bridge. The most advanced of all who rejected us. Maya studied the approaching ships. Each was at least 5 times the size of the Pathfinder, their crystalline structures catching and refracting starlight in hypnotic patterns. They're hailing us, Communications Officer Dax Kim reported. On screen, Maya ordered, straightening her uniform. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that barely resembled anything organic by human standards. The Iridian appeared as a swirling mass of luminescent energy contained within a vaguely humanoid shell of translucent crystal. When it spoke, its entire form pulsed with each word. I am Sentinel Vex of the Iridian hierarchy. The translation matrix rendered in a voice that seemed to reverberate through the bridge. You have interfered with matters beyond your understanding, humans. Maya stepped forward. This is Commander Maya Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Pathfinder. We are rendering humanitarian assistance to refugees in distress. This is in accordance with the principles of our civilization. The Iridian's form flickered with what might have been amusement or anger. Your civilization is barely a cosmic instant old. You have yet to leave your local stellar neighborhood, Yet you presume to judge where we, who have traveled the stars for millennia, have already decided. We make no judgment of your decisions, Maya replied diplomatically, though the words tasted bitter. We simply made our own. The Neverans were evaluated and found unsuitable for preservation, Sentinel Vex continued. Their genetic makeup is unstable, their technology primitive, their cultural contributions minimal. The resources required to save them would be better allocated elsewhere. This is the consensus of all advanced civilizations in this sector. Maya felt Krell stiffen beside her. The Neverans' copper skin had darkened with what she had learned was their equivalent of a flush of shame or anger. With respect, Sentinel, Maya said carefully, humans measure value differently. We believe every sentient species has inherent worth and potential that cannot be calculated by current contributions alone. A charming philosophy, the Iridian replied, born of ignorance. You will surrender the Neveran fleet to us. We will ensure they meet their end with dignity, rather than becoming a burden on your limited resources. Maya's expression hardened. That's not going to happen. You would challenge the Iridian hierarchy? We who have bent space and time to our will for 10,000 years? If necessary. The bridge fell silent. Even the Iridian seemed momentarily taken aback by the human's resolute stance. You have 6 hours to reconsider, Sentinel Vex said finally. After that, we will take appropriate action to correct this mistake. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. They could destroy us with minimal effort, Security Chief Viktor Kovalev stated bluntly. Our weapons would be useless against their technology. They won't destroy us, Maya said, turning to her crew. At least not immediately. They're curious about us now. We've done something unexpected. What's our play, Commander? Asked Marcus, the chief engineer. Maya considered their options. We continue as planned. The new horizon is still 3 days out. We need to keep the Neveran fleet stable until then. And if the Iridians attack before help arrives? Elena asked the question everyone was thinking. Maya's expression was grim. Then we stand our ground for as long as we can. Over the next few hours, the Pathfinder's crew worked frantically to enhance their shields and prepare emergency protocols. Meanwhile, Maya met with Krell and the other awakened Neverans in the conference room. I am sorry we have brought this danger to you, Krell said, their large eyes downcast. Perhaps it would be better if it don't finish that thought, Maya interrupted. We made our choice freely, knowing the risks. Another Neveran, Talus, spoke up. The Iridians are not accustomed to being defied. They consider themselves the arbiters, of which developing species deserve to survive. Who gave them that right? Maya asked. They took it, Talus answered simply, and none challenged them. Maya leaned forward. Tell me about the other civilizations that rejected you. Are they all allied with the Iridians? Krell and Talus exchanged looks. Not exactly, Krell replied. The Mabari Commonwealth and the Axani Republic both have independent relations with the Iridians. They respect Iridian power but maintain their sovereignty. And would they be pleased to see the Iridians dictating terms to a new spacefaring species? Understanding dawned in Krell's expression. I'm suggesting we're not the only ones who might be uncomfortable with how the Iridians are flexing their authority, Maya confirmed. Dax, send messages to the nearest diplomatic outposts of both the Mabari and the Axoni. Inform them of our situation. As the deadline approached, 3 more crystalline vessels joined the Iridian formation. The Pathfinder stood alone between them and the vulnerable Neveran fleet. Maya ordered all non-essential personnel to the escape pods, though she knew that if the Iridians attacked in force, there would be little hope of survival. 5 minutes before the deadline, Dax's console lit up with incoming transmissions. Commander, I'm detecting multiple ships dropping out of FTL. The view screen showed 8 vessels appearing at the edge of the system. 3 were the sleek, organic-looking ships of the Axoni Republic. Another 5 were the geometric, metallic constructs favored by the Mabari Commonwealth. They're hailing us, Dax reported, unable to keep the surprise from his voice. All of them, including the Iridians. The view screen split into 3 sections, showing Sentinel Vex alongside representatives from the newly arrived fleets, a feathered avian-like Axoni, and a blue-skinned, six-eyed Mabari. This is unexpected. Sentinel Vex's crystalline form pulsed. Why have the Axoni and Mabari involved themselves in this matter? The humans have raised interesting questions about interspecies protocols, the Axoni representative replied, feathers rustling. As members of the Regional Council, we have a right to observe and participate when significant decisions are being made. The Mabari representative's multiple eyes blinked in sequence. We are also curious why the Iridian hierarchy feels it necessary to deploy a military force against a species that has never shown aggression toward any council member. Maya realized. What was happening? The message she had sent had struck a nerve. These civilizations might have rejected the Neverans, but they were not comfortable with the Iridians dictating terms to everyone else. The humans are harboring biological refugees that were deemed unworthy of preservation, Vex insisted. This is merely enforcement of consensus. Was there truly a consensus? Maya interjected. Or did each civilization simply defer to what they assumed others would want? Did any of you actually vote to condemn the Neverans to extinction, or did you simply pass them along to someone else's jurisdiction? An uncomfortable silence followed her words. The human raises a valid point, the Mabari representative conceded. The Mabari Commonwealth never formally voted on the Neveran petition. We merely indicated that our closest habitable worlds were unsuitable for their physiology. The Axoni Republic similarly made no final determination, the feathered representative added. We expressed concerns about resource allocation, but issued no denial of sanctuary. Sentinel Vex's crystalline form flickered with obvious irritation. This is absurd. The meaning was clear. None of us wished to bear the burden of these refugees. And yet the humans, with far fewer resources than any of us, have chosen to do so, the Mabari pointed out. This merits reflection. For the next 3 hours, Maya engaged in the most consequential diplomatic negotiation of her career, and possibly of human history. She spoke not from a position of strength, but from conviction, articulating humanity's belief that compassion was not a burden but a strength, that diversity bred resilience, and that the true measure of advancement was not technological prowess but moral courage. To her surprise, the Axoni and Mabari representatives began to engage sincerely with these ideas. Even some of the civilizations that had initially rejected the Neverans joined the discussion remotely. Only the Iridians remained unmoved. This is a waste of time, Sentinel Vex declared finally. The humans have made their choice. Let them bear the consequences. But know this, Commander Chen, the Iridian hierarchy will be watching. When your resources are strained, when your people begin to resent the burden you've placed upon them, we will remember that we offered you a simple solution, and we will remember that you considered extinction a simple solution. Maya replied evenly. I hope we'll both learn something from the experience. The Iridian vessels departed soon after, their crystalline structures folding in on themselves before disappearing in bursts of light. The Axoni and Mabari fleets remained, however. We will escort you to the edge of this sector, the Mabari representative offered, to ensure no further misunderstandings occur. 3 weeks later, the Pathfinder and the Neveran Exodus fleet, now joined by the Earth colony ship New Horizon, approached Proxima Centauri b, the world that would become the Neverans' new home. From orbit, they could see the settlement areas already being prepared, the terraforming adjustments designed to make the environment compatible with Neveran biology. Maya stood with Krell in the observation lounge, watching as the first shuttle, carrying awakened Neverans, descended to the planet's surface. I still cannot fully comprehend why you did this for us, Krell said softly. Your people have committed immense resources to our salvation. Maya smiled. It's who we are at our best, Krell. Throughout our history, humanity has made terrible mistakes. We've turned away those in need. We've valued convenience over compassion, but we've learned from those failures. And what will you gain from saving us? Allies, friends, new perspectives. The knowledge that we stood by our principles when it would have been easier not to. She turned to face the Neveran. And perhaps, we've changed something important about how the advanced civilizations view developing species. Your people weren't the first to be deemed unworthy of saving, but maybe you'll be the last. 6 months later, Maya returned to the Neveran settlement, now called New Dawn, for a formal ceremony. The once barren landscape had been transformed. Elegant Neveran architecture blended with Earth-inspired designs in a sprawling city that housed not only the 30,000 Neveran refugees, but also several thousand human settlers, scientists, and diplomats. More surprisingly, the ceremony was attended by representatives from 12 spacefaring civilizations, including reluctant observers from the Iridian hierarchy. The Axoni and Mabari had moved from cautious allies to enthusiastic supporters of what was now being called the Proxima Accord, a new interspecies agreement that established the right of refugee populations to seek asylum and the responsibility of advanced civilizations to consider such requests with compassion. As Maya watched Krell sign the accord as the official Neveran representative, she reflected on how a single decision, to help rather than turn away, had rippled outward, challenging assumptions and changing perspectives across dozens of worlds. "Commander Chen," a voice called. Maya turned to see Admiral Juarez approaching with a smile. "Quite an achievement. Earth Command is pleased, though still somewhat stunned, by the diplomatic coup you've pulled off." Maya shook her head. "We just did the right thing. Everything else followed from that." "Sometimes that's all it takes," the Admiral agreed. "The Axoni ambassador tells me that several other refugee populations have already been identified and reassessed under the new protocols. Lives that would have been lost will now be saved." "And the Iridians?" Admiral Juarez chuckled. "Still sulking. But they're pragmatists. They've realized that opposing the growing consensus makes them look regressive rather than advanced. Their Sentinel Vex has been quietly reassigned." As the ceremony concluded, Krell approached Maya with a small crystalline object, a model of the Neveran Exodus fleet, rendered in exquisite detail. "We will never forget," Krell said, pressing the gift into Maya's hands. "When all other civilizations abandoned us, humanity chose to help. It is now part of our founding story, the first history our children will learn on this new world." Maya accepted the gift, feeling the weight of what it represented. "Just promise me something, Krell. Anything. When you encounter another civilization, in need someday, and you will, remember this moment. Pass on what was given to you." Krell's copper skin rippled with emotion as they placed their four-fingered hand over their heart in the Neveran gesture of solemn promise. "This is already our most sacred vow. What humanity has taught us, we will teach others. Your compassion will echo across the stars long after all of us are gone." As Maya looked out over the thriving settlement, she knew that humanity had made its mark on the galaxy, not through conquest or technological marvels, but through a simple act of compassion, when it would have been easier to look away. In that moment, she understood that this was humanity at its best, imperfect, still learning, but willing to stand for what was right, even against the judgment of the stars themselves.